The jungle closed like a fist. Ava felt it first. A pause that wasn't night. A hush that pressed on teeth. Not a bird. Not a frog. Even the leaf drip held its breath. Her broken watch lay cold against her skin. Cracked face. Frozen second hand. She wore it anyway. A quiet promise strapped with frayed nylon. Rear guard. Last eyes. Last shots if it turned. The team drifted ahead in dim green. Tape bands on sleeves. Mud-dark faces. They moved like men who knew the path and distrusted it. Count crates. No noise. That was the job. Jobs are simple until the world adds teeth. Her M40 settled into bone like it had been cut for her shoulder. Oil and rain ghosts in the stock. The scope made a neat circle from chaos. Fern ribs. A black vein of shadow. Dew bright as pinpricks of ice. There. A tremble where no wind went. She lowered, cheek to stock. Breath slid shallow. Glass winked under a leaf. Not firefly, not dew. A lens catching a sting of starlight. She traced the glint to skin. The pale wet of an eyelid. A finger curved on a trigger. Patience shaped like a man. She let him believe one more second, then she broke it. The shot was a breath leaving. The jungle answered with knives. Muzzle flashes stitched the dark. Left, right, ahead. A deeper bark. Belt fed. Chewing the night like it owed debt. Ava flowed, not crawled. Elbow to mud. Barrel lifted. Bolt ran smooth. She found muzzles instead of faces. 2, 3. The rhythm fixed itself in her hands. The radio coughed and died. A voice tried a word and drowned. Her empty wallet thumped her rib in the ruck. Tap, tap, tap. No cash inside. Just a sun-bleached photo. A dusty road. A grin squinting at noon. A promise written with easy light. Back before dinner. The belt gun spoke again, thicker, closer. Bark shredded above her. Ants swarmed her wrist from a rotten log. She let them. Stillness stays alive. Flash. Count to 3. A finger's wind. A knuckles drop. She sent the round. The belt gun coughed metal and quit. A twig popped behind her heel. A boot came down. Heel pinned her calf. Weight pressed. The barrel hunted her ribs. She let the weight crush. Let the man think the jungle finally learned her shape. He lifted for the kick. She rolled into it. The scope cut his wrist. The barrel banged his throat. Short push, short pull. He went still. Ahead, the formation unraveled into sparks and shouts. Not a rout, not yet. A retreat pulled along a seam she could see from the wrong side. She slid parallel where quiet lives. Second line had radios. Third line had patience. First line was loud and proud. She clipped the radios first. Speaker clipped jawbone. She took voices, not throats. Noise fell confused. A young face flinched and ducked instead of calling. She put a bullet through the talk box on his collar and left his skin. Mercy when it buys minutes is math. The first line didn't know it was alone. She climbed the small rise, found a knuckle of stone, an old stump that remembered axes. The scope opened the world like a careful pocket knife. Rockets woke on the left. She took the tube. Then the man who sprinted for the tube. Then the tall fool who wanted courage seen. She hated the ease of those shots. She set the hate down beside her and kept working. Down in the seam, a sleeve flashed tape. Blue. Friend. She held her breath and let him pass through her angle. Another belt gun coughed farther out. She listened past fire. Past shouts. Past all the easy noise engines, not rotor, wheels, many. The road. She edged right to see a scar of packed clay cross the green. Cracked and dust-veined. The kind of road that remembers heat. The kind from her photo. The dusty road she carried in her pocket. Almost rubbed away. Headlights bloomed at the bend. 2, 4. A train of canvas-backed trucks rolled like they had deeds to the dark. She had 8 rounds and a clean lane. Radiator first. Steam screamed. Driver flinched wrong. The second truck slammed it. Canvas burst. Minspelo. Dust rose and wrapped the scene in gauze. She loves dust. Dust lies to everyone the same. She shot the ones who stood too tall in it. The hands that reached to drag friends. The wrist that carried a radio. Always the radio. Her magazine went light. Last round slid from the lips like a sentence ending. She slammed a fresh mag. Grit hummed. The lip snagged. Bolt balked. Boots thudded behind her. Close. Sure. Steel kissed the nape of her neck. Hot. Exact. Drop it. A voice said in the language she'd learned enough to hide inside. She didn't drop it. Her thumb crushed the stubborn lip. The bolt slid home. Her body kept turning into the barrel. Let it brand skin, let it burn hair. The trigger broke. The night blinked white. He fell across her legs. Weight, warmth, then absence. Above the road, a rotor beat the leaves apart. A searchlight cut a brief river and swung away. Ava rolled to tree, used it as edge, took another muzzle as it blinked where it shouldn't. The radio hiccuped in her ear. You're... Static tore it. The empty wallet tapped. Again. Tap, tap. Promise and warning. A whistle rose from the tree line. Low, measured. Answered by another behind her. Not. Birds' lines. She drew the map inside the sound. Anchors, pulls, knots. She saw herself at the bend where nets cinch. She shifted 3 yards. No more, enough to turn tight and to miss. The whistle sharpened. The net began to close, and then, from the bend, a dozer's blunt face pushed into view. Blade lifted, cage bright in the firelight, right as a heavy boot settled into the leaves at her hip and pressed down again. Steady this time as another barrel lowered toward her spine. The boot ground her into the soil. Ava didn't fight it. She let the man think he owned her breath. He leaned his weight into triumph. He had a second left to live. Her left hand shifted a finger's width. The sling lay slack. The rifle was a hinge. She exhaled. He raised his heel for the killing kick. She rolled into it. The barrel jammed his throat. The trigger erased him. She lowered him quiet. The jungle had ears. The team's voices were gone now, lost to static and distance. Only muzzle echoes throbbed in the dark. She moved like a snake, ribs brushing roots, chin close to mud. Her broken watch pressed bone with every crawl. Her empty wallet tapped her ribs like a clock with no hands. Tap, tap. The net was drawing. She heard it in the whistles. Lines pulled from east from west. She mapped it in her head. They thought her team was still in the crease. She was already outside it. She found the anchor, a radio on a crate, a young man chewing a pencil as if it gave him courage. She put her crosshair on the pencil. The round took the tooth, the man, and the map. The whistles faltered. She cut another anchor. Another voice dropped into silence. The net sagged. Her bolt was smooth, her cheek steady, her breath cold. She picked the second line apart in 3 shots. The fourth she spared. A boy's hand shook on his radio. She shot the radio, not the skin. Sparks blinded him. He dropped and tried to be smaller. Good, stay small. The front line screamed. They didn't know their teeth were unhinged. Ava slithered left, cut the flank that carried the rockets. She dropped tube, runner, fool. The belt gun returned, thick and clumsy. She took its hands. Silence fell like a stone into deep water. Her empty magazine clicked. She slid the last cartridges into the pouch, slow, reverent. Each round was a bead on a rosary. She knew how many prayers she had left. Then, new sound. A hollow cough, mortars. She crept uphill. The moon veiled and unveiled itself. At the clearing's edge, a tube tilted. Loader, spotter, smiler. She shot the smile first, then the loader, then the hand that tried to pull him away. The round rolled and hissed into a puddle. Useless. A twig betrayed someone at her ankle. The muzzle rose in her shadow. She flattened into mud. The shot skinned her hairline, turned green to white. She rolled, kicked, shoved the rifle through ribs. Breath left him in a whimper. More came. She cut 2, scattered 3. The rest ran into the dark. Then her radio flickered. Va? A ghost syllable. Hope. Then static. The jungle was listening again. Then the whistles returned closer, sharper. The net wasn't broken. It was closing again. The whistles mapped the night. She saw the cords pulling, saw herself at the pinch where nets cinch. She shifted a few yards, no more. Enough to slide free. She left a corpse with open eyes. Someone would waste a breath closing them. Her broken watch pressed harder. Its cracked glass held no time. Time still moved. She followed it. The trucks came first. Canvas-backed, headlights white. She had 9 rounds. She picked radiator, driver, tire. Steel screamed. Body spilled. Dust rose like a veil. She used it. Dust is an honest liar. She shot the hands reaching, the radio wrist, the tall silhouette trying to be brave. Her rifle ate the night in steady gulps. A jam stopped her bolt. Mud grit. Boots rushed. A barrel pressed her nape. Drop it, the voice said. Young, nervous. She crushed the lip, slid the bolt, turned into fire. The boy fell on her legs, bleeding belief, then the rotor. Wind tore trees. A searchlight swept once, then veered. A bird hung above the road, indecisive. A minigun roared, shredding canvas and men. Ava slid to cover, cutting survivors in the confusion. Her radio sparked again, and Blue, pushing. Then silence. Blue was alive. Moving. She couldn't see them, but the knowledge sharpened her hands. The helicopter dropped ropes. 2 shadows slid fast, helmets wrong shape for enemies. "Ghost?" one whispered. "Left," she said. They moved, rifles stitching the tree line. He tossed her a magazine. Wrong caliber. He swore, dug again, gave her the right one. Their fingers touched, cold, human. "Blue thinks you're gone," he said. "Let them," she answered. "I'm not done." The minigun barked dry. The bird climbed. Fresh boots thundered in from the east. A new squad rested, unblooded. She braced against a stump, shot 3 clean, spared no one else. The bird tried to hover, caught tracers, veered. Its rope frayed. A man dangled, screaming. The leader appeared then, broad shoulders, pistol low, radio on chest. He smiled through dust. She shot the radio. Sparks ate his grin. He dove. Clever. Then the rope above her snapped. The dangling man fell, arms pinwheeling, straight toward her ditch. The body slammed into mud. Shouts tore the night. The helicopter bucked, pulling altitude. Rope swung wild, useless. The big man took his chance. He lunged from cover, pistol barking. Dirt leapt at her cheek. She traced the tire of a wrecked truck, found the gap beneath. A calf muscle twitched there. She took it. The man cursed but crawled deeper. The bird was nearly out of fuel. 30 seconds. The pilot growled in her ear. "Smoke," she said. "We're dry." Then rotor your smoke. The bird skimmed the road. Its wash carved dust into walls. Everyone became silhouette. She moved inside the storm. Quiet, unseen. The leader's pistol cracked again, blind through haze. A shard clipped her cheek. Warmth ran down. She gritted it. "Ghost," Salt's voice whispered on comms. Relief like a vein of water. "Blue is through the east trees. 2 missing." "We can't hold. You hold," she said. "I'll close it." She slid upslope. Fire from ruptured fuel drums clawed the sky. The shack sagged and bled sparks. Through smoke, she saw him again. Big man, limping now, but still smiling with his eyes. He dragged a wire through ash. It ran under the road. Her stomach turned cold. "A line charge," she raised the rifle. Her finger brushed the trigger. He pressed his thumb on the clacker and the road began to lift. The blast was not fire, but earth. Clay heaved. Cracks ripped. The road buckled. Ava's feet lost ground. She fell into a throat of dirt. She landed on her shoulder in a shallow pit. Roots clawed her arms. The M40 slammed ribs but stayed in her grip. Above, the road smoked and hissed. Men shouted, their voices jagged with triumph. The pit stank of rot and iron. Stakes jutted, black and broken, relics of another war. The jungle kept old traps, her watch scraped bone. Its cracked face chipped again. A white comma near the 5. Time mocking. She pulled her wallet from her pouch. The photo was nearly gone. The dusty road blurred, grin erased by years of sweat and rain. Only outline left, ghost of promise. "I'm still earning it," she whispered. Boots scuffed above. Someone leaned over, face young, jaw scarred. He saw her eyes below. Surprise widened him. She gave him silence. He toppled. "Grenade," another said. She pressed into a root hollow. The grenade rolled wrong, burst clay, coughed smoke. Walls sagged. She climbed in the crumble. A hand reached down. She yanked it. The man fell into the pit, screaming once. She stepped on him to rise. At the lip, a muzzle probed. She kissed it with her barrel and fired. Silence again. She rolled out into flame. The dozer bled fluid. The trucks burned. A column of fresh men advanced, rifles steady. Late but disciplined. 10 shadows, then 12. She could vanish. She could circle, but she chose to cut them. Tail first. Head second. The line crumbled into fear. Through the chaos, Blue appeared. Tape bands. Dirt-streaked faces. Salt grinning through soot. Salt packet still in pocket. The boy who grabbed her ankle, missing a glove. "You fell," he said. "I climbed," she answered. "Bird's gone," Salt said. "Bingo fuel." "Then we finish this." At the bend, the big man stepped from trees again. Limping, smiling with blood on his teeth. In his hand, another wire. He raised it like an oath. Ava raised her rifle and chose. The big man stood at the bend, wire in hand, thumb bent against the clacker. He limped, but the limp carried pride. He believed he was still the ending. Ava sighted him. Breath shallow, finger poised. She knew she had one clean round before smoke and chaos took him again. The wire trembled in his grip. Not fear, anticipation. Behind him, the line of charges hid under dirt stitched through roots, waiting to bloom. She had a second to decide, his hand or the wire. She shot the hand. The round tore flesh, bone, tendon. The clacker tumbled into dust. He screamed, dropped to one knee, but he still laughed. His other hand fumbled for the wire, reaching with stubborn will. Ava moved before he could. She rose from the ditch, shoulder fire screaming, ankle lying, but she ran anyway. She closed distance in bursts, tree stump stone. The rifle steady even when her legs betrayed her. He saw her coming. His pistol rose. They fired at the same breath. His round cut air past her cheek. Hers hit shoulder. He spun, collapsed against the dozer's blade, grinning still, teeth red. "You think you stop it," he rasped. The words were jagged stone. "You think jungle is yours?" She kept the crosshair on his eye. "It's nobody's," she said. "That's why it's fair," she shot again. His head snapped back. The grin broke for good. Silence, not peace. Just absence. Blue regrouped at the ditch. Salt dragged the boy with the raw palm. Two more stumbled, soot in their hair, blood on sleeves. They counted one another, and the number was less than it had been. "Ava," Salt said, his voice low. "Bird's not coming back. We've got no lift." "We walk out," she nodded once. The broken watch pressed into her wrist, its crack cutting light into her skin. The empty wallet thumped her ribs. She pulled it free and looked. The photo was gone now, dissolved into paper pulp. Only a smear of dust remained. A road without people. A promise without a face. She folded it shut, tucked it back. Carried weight anyway. The column of enemy men, those who had lived through fire and noise, pulled back into trees. They had no leader now, no net. They were ghosts like she was. The jungle had decided the fight was done for now. "Which way?" the boy asked. His voice cracked, young and sharp. Ava listened. The jungle hum returned, insect and frog songs unbroken. It was the oldest compass she knew. West held thicker silence. East held whispers. She chose west. "Follow the ditch," she said. "Stay low." Slow as clean, they moved. 4 left of her team, 1 barely walking. The road burned behind them. The fire took the shack, the trucks, the dozer. Ash drifted like gray snow. She took point now, though her ankle screamed with every step. Her rifle was still steady, her eyes still sharp. The jungle closed behind them, swallowing blood, bodies, fire, noise. It would be green again tomorrow, as if nothing had happened. Hours later, dawn broke for real. Pale light filtered through leaves, painting their faces hollow. Salt fished the last packet from his pocket and tore it with his teeth. He sprinkled grains into his palm, handed them around. A communion of survivors. The boy chewed his salt with a grimace. Ava let hers dissolve on her tongue. It tasted like sea, like home, like memory. They reached a ridge. From there, the valley stretched below. Mist hung low, soft and white. A river cut through, silver under the newborn sun. "There," she said. "Water, cover, way out." The boy grinned, despite cracked lips. "You always know." "No," she said. "I just keep moving until something does." They started down the ridge, step by step. Each one heavy, each one alive. At the ridge's crown, Ava paused. She looked back. Smoke curled where the road had been. Black fingers clawed sky. Somewhere in that ash lay the wire, the clacker, the body of a man who thought he was the ending. She touched her watch. Broken still. She pressed it tighter to bone. Time doesn't need to move to matter. She knew that now. She turned, followed her team into mist. The jungle swallowed them whole. And somewhere ahead she felt, not rescue, not safety, but the thin thread of hope. Enough to keep walking, enough to keep carrying weight, enough to earn one more minute.